So over in the Netherlands, a new political party has popped up with a label that, well, it sounds like a complete contradiction. In this explainer, we're going to unpack what they're calling the sweet right.
Okay, let's get right into it. The party is called Vrijverbond. That's Dutch for Free Alliance. Its founder, Bart Burggraaf, has built his entire platform on this idea he calls Leaf Rex. And yep, that literally translates to sweet right.
So what on earth does that actually mean? Well, the party calls itself right progressive, and it's trying to fuse together two political ideas that you normally see as total opposites. This really gets to the heart of their whole philosophy. They want to combine right-wing economics, less government, lower taxes, with progressive social values that are all about high personal freedom. Burggraaf even has a slogan for it: left for your life, right for your money. And he argues that this combo carves out a totally empty spot on the political map. So how does this actually work? Well, it all kicks off with the right side of the equation, and that means a really fundamental belief about what the government should and shouldn't be doing. Vrijverbond puts it this way: for them, the biggest choice we face is between people and government. They believe the state isn't the solution to our problems. In fact, they argue that when you look at things like the housing crisis or a stagnant economy, the government is usually the one that caused the problem in the first place. And to really hammer this point home, Burggraaf uses a pretty startling comparison. He points out that in the Netherlands, the government's share of the economy is about 50% of GDP. Now get this, he compares that to communist China, where it's only around 30%. I mean, that is a provocative statistic, designed to make you think, wow, the government has gotten huge. So that brings us to their economic plan, which is pretty radical. And this is where we get to the sweet part of the sweet right. How can you shrink the government and be compassionate? It's all in how they want to reset the economy. Okay, pillar number one is a huge tax simplification. They want to throw out all the complicated brackets and introduce a single flat tax of just 25% on all income. Super simple. But here's the kicker. That flat tax only applies after a certain point. And this is where it gets really interesting. They're proposing that the first 30,000 euros a person earns would be 100% tax-free. The idea is to give a major boost to low and middle income folk. Now, this is the really crucial part. What if you earn less than that 30,000 euro threshold? This is their core sweet idea, a negative income tax. So instead of you paying the government actually pays you. It tops up your income. The whole point is to completely get rid of the entire confusing welfare system and replace it with one simple safety net that makes sure work always pays off. So the big question is, how do you pay for all this? The tax cuts, the negative income tax? Well, their plan is to slash government spending by 30 to 40%. They do it by getting rid of entire government departments, tons of subsidies, and all the bureaucracy they see as a waste. This whole idea of a smaller, more independent nation doesn't just stop at the border. It shapes their entire view of how the Netherlands should deal with the rest of the world, especially on big issues like migration and the EU. When you look at their migration policy, it's pretty blunt. They argue that you just can't have a huge welfare state and open borders at the same time. It doesn't work. So their solution is to stop all asylum-based migration and cut off access to welfare for newcomers. The whole goal is to change the dynamic and attract people who want to come and contribute to the economy. And when it comes to the European Union, well, let's just say their position is even more direct. Burggraaf makes it crystal clear what he thinks. This thinking leads to a strategy they basically call my way or the highway. They point out that the Netherlands is the EU's top net contributor per person, and they want to use that leverage. The plan is to just veto everything, stop all payments, and put Dutch law above EU law until they get a new deal that works for them. All right, so let's pull all these different threads together. When you step back and look at the whole picture, what is this sweet right blueprint really all about? It really boils down to four main pillars. First, you've got that radical economic change with the 25% flat tax and the negative income tax. That's paid for by the second pillar, hacking government spending down by 30 to 40%. The third pillar is a hard stop on asylum migration. And finally, you have a super confrontational, Netherlands-first attitude to take back power from the EU.
And all of this leaves us with the big, central paradox at the heart of this whole sweet right ideology. It's a question that really gets at the fundamental trade-offs we face today. Can a nation actually slash the size of its government, completely simplify its safety net, and still manage to take care of its most vulnerable people?